You made your list, you've checked it twice. You know what home you want, you know the area, you know the amenities. And you have outlined all the things that are important to you and your family. You are officially ready to start the home buying process. But wait, you need the money to make this happen, right? Many individuals have to secure a mortgage to achieve home ownership, that is working with a lender to secure a loan in order to complete their home purchase. In this episode today, we discuss all things financing through mortgage lending, so stay right here. I am Sharyn Rigsbee, and this is the True Talk Show.
Welcome to the True Talk Show. I am your host, Sharyn Rigsbee, and in the True Talk seat today, I have a very special guest. She is a lending expert. She is the VP of Lending at Guaranteed Rate Affinity. I have Miss Peggy Halbrick.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being on the show.
I'm excited about being here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk today all things lending and really kind of come from the space of if you're looking to purchase a home, what are some things people should keep top of mind when it comes to lending? We all realize if we're not paying cash for a property, we're going to need to secure a mortgage or financing for that. But there's all kinds of options out there. So before we jump into that, let's just level set. Let's tell our audience a little bit about you, where you grew up and how you got into the lending space.
Perfect. So I actually am from Louisiana, and I never wanted to be in finance, but sometimes paths leads us somewhere different. And so I moved to Houston, and the first job interview I went on was at a mortgage company, and I've been in it ever since. I just fell in love with the whole business.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing mortgage lending?
I'm going to tell my age. I've been doing mortgage lending since 1983.
Wow. So, expert on the show. So let's just start with the basics.
Okay.
Let's talk about the types of loan products when you're thinking about purchasing a home. What are some of those traditional types that people can expect to hear from an actual lender?
Yes, so our common, of course, that most every lender does is your conventional, your FHA, your VA, and something called USDA, so the rural housing. So those are your four normal loan products that are out there. Yes.
Let's break them down a little bit, kind of high level if we can. So conventional, how would somebody be eligible for a conventional loan?
So a conventional loan requires a higher down payment. Okay. So normally it's 5%. There is products available at 3%, but that's all income based. But the normal would be 5% on a conventional. And normally someone that has a higher credit score usually wants to go conventional, or that doesn't want to have to pay a lot of PMI, which is private mortgage insurance, would do conventional.
Okay. The next one would be FHA.
Yeah, FHA. So FHA is insured by the government, the Federal Housing Administration. They have a 3.5% down payment, and they have mortgage insurance that is charged both upfront and monthly.
Is that mortgage insurance, they have to pay that throughout the entire life of the loan?
If they don't put down at least 10%, they have to pay the mortgage insurance for the entire life of the loan. And that normally is what differentiates someone wanting to get conventional versus FHA.
Okay.
Yes.
And then you've got the VA loan that you mentioned.
Yes.
Who's ideal for a VA loan?
So any veteran that has served a certain amount of time is eligible for a VA loan. Normally a VA loan, the interest rate is lower. There is a funding fee that's kind of like VA's mortgage insurance that's financed in. If someone is getting disability, that is waived. And then, like I said, the rate's lower. And a lot of times the fees are less, the loan fees are less on a VA.
And then the last one you mentioned was USDA, which I know here for us in Columbus, we maybe don't hear so much about. So what's about this USDA loan?
That is considered also rural housing. So it all is qualified based on the zip code. So you are able to sometimes get 100% financing. It's more for the rural areas, just like it says, and it's also income limit based.
Okay. So when an actual potential buyer is coming to you, do they decide what loan product they want, or is it more driven by, like you were saying, maybe their credit score, their income? How do you guys determine perhaps what's the best loan product for them?
What I normally do is I actually interview my buyers. I find out what their preference is. And then once I see their credit situation, their debt situation, and their assets, I will give them a choice of different loan products and then let them choose which one is best for them.
There you go. So you're hearing that, and you should write that down, that if you're working with a good lender, they're having conversation with you and dialogue with you about something that's a really big decision.
Very big.
It shouldn't be just steering you any one particular
Correct.
way, but like you do, offering the options based on what truly works for your financial picture. So that is awesome that you said that.
Correct.
Let's talk about, the difference between conventional and FHA. And I'm going to go there because I feel like that's the most in our market here that we hear the most about. And there's probably some misconceptions on either side. Like, do you know of any potential misconceptions? People think you shouldn't go FHA because of this, or you should definitely go conventional because of this?
Well, to me, there's a big misconcept of FHA in our market. And FHA, yes, sometimes can be a little bit more stringent as far as the property is concerned, and the appraisal does stay with that property for 6 months. But in some cases, some buyers are not able to get financing unless they go FHA. So to me, that's what's so unfortunate, is because they're great buyers. They have the assets that they need. They have the job stability, but for some reason, they don't have 5% to put down. So their only choice is to go FHA. And so there's really not that major like it used to be as far as the criteria for appraisals. But I think that is the biggest misconception, and it really does not give a lot of buyers the opportunity that I feel like they should be given.
It's a really good perspective, because I feel like that's being in the real estate space. That is certainly, in some of those conversations I've had with clients who are selling, really are concerned about, accepting an offer from a buyer who has FHA financing, having concerns around the buyer's ability to pay, to close on the loan, and to be able to finish out the process. So I appreciate the perspective you offered to help folks understand they're both really great loan products, but do have particular purpose, if you will, in terms of that buyer, what they can and can't do.
Correct.
Let's talk about what else goes into that mortgage equation, if you will. What is some of the criteria that buyers need to be keeping in mind that they'll have to present to you in order to actually secure the loan?
So, of course, credit is very important. So we, of course, will have to pull a credit report. And the funny thing about a credit report that a lot of individuals don't understand is that we actually pull 3 scores. We throw out the high, we throw out the low, and we use the middle of the scores. So credit is very important. Assets, where's your money coming from? Do you already have that money in the bank? Is it coming from a gift from a family member? Is it cash that you have at home? Assets is a big piece as well. And then employment. So you want to make sure that you've had at least a 2-year employment history. You don't have to be at the same job for 2 years, but you need a 2-year employment history, and college can count as part of those 2 years.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that. That
really?
is good
Yes.
to know.
Yep.
All right, so let's go back to talking about just employment. I mean, can there be breaks in employment? Is that a negative? Do folks need to have consistent employment? How does that look? Because I know different times can impact people different ways.
Well, as long as there's not more than what we call a 6-month gap, that's not an issue. You don't want to have like 5 or 6 jobs within a 12-month period. But a lot of times individuals will change jobs to better themselves.
Right.
And so we don't penalize or look at that negative as long as they have moved up.
Okay.
So yeah, and a lot of times if someone leaves a job, yes, maybe they're off for a month, they take a month break, and then they start a new job, and that's perfectly fine.
Fantastic.
Just looking for stability.
How do you guys get to what their house payment will be? Is that like an approximation based on area that the buyer's considering?
Yes.
So that's another thing to keep in mind then.
It is, and especially if you do like an online or an automated approval, sometimes they are looking at national taxes, and as we know in the Columbus market, our real estate taxes are a little high, so that could be a very false debt to income ratio that you're looking at. So I always suggest that if you're doing a national lender, you check with a local lender, or you even check like the local taxes for the area to make sure that you're not giving yourself a false hope.
Join the True Talk Nation for more resources, more videos, more behind the scenes footage, and your chance to win prizes. Check us out at TrueTalkInc.com. And also make sure you like and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at True Talk Real Estate.
Whether you're a first-time homebuyer evaluating a condo versus townhouse, an empty nester looking to downsize into a smaller house or a condo, or if you're trying to determine if renting an apartment or buying a home is best for you, consider this your primer on what type of housing might suit your lifestyle. So let's start with the difference between a new build versus old build. Part 1. New build versus old build. New build. When most people talk about buying a new build, they mean a house that is a new construction, untouched and clean. Fresh paint, modern floor plans, and updated appliances. These are just a few of the benefits of buying a new house. But there's also something to be said for the emotional perks of stepping into a brand new home. When you're the first person to live in a residence, the home is what you make it. So let's look at some of the advantages of new construction. Pros of a new build. Energy efficiency has become increasingly important over the years. So in most cases, the newer the home, the easier it is on the environment. Homes that are up to code come with many benefits on top of the physical safety of your family. Because new construction requires compliance with stricter safety regulations, newer homes require less maintenance and receive the safety stamp of approval, which typically results in lower insurance costs and higher resale value. Cons of a new build. While newer homes tend to cost more upfront, they are more energy efficient and may require less maintenance than an older home. Homeowners insurance for a new construction is more expensive. You may have less room for negotiation when buying an older or resale home. Location with less land available near high-value areas. New construction properties tend to be placed further away from city centers, schools, and hospitals. Also, you may have to become part of an HOA, meaning a homeowners association, which makes and enforces rules for the properties and residents. HOA also required you to pay dues known as HOA fees. Part 2. Old build. Like the old adage, they don't make them like they used to, rings true. There are several advantages that come with purchasing an existing home. Some old build homes were built by hand, and some built by genuine craftsmen with meticulous attention to detail. Perks like price, location, and availability are all factors that add to the charm of older homes, and could be difficult to find with a new construction property. Pros of an old build. Architectural character, Victorians, Greek revivals, Tudors, and colonials. Stained glass windows, custom arches, hand-carved detailing, and other interesting architectural features are abundant in older homes. Centrally located in established neighborhoods with mature trees and vegetation creating a beautiful landscape on the property. The great advantage of an older home is possibly cheaper and built on a larger land square footage. Another perk to an old house, some might have new upgrades. And don't forget, you can always renovate if needed. Cons of an old build. Outdated building code compliance is an issue you may encounter. It wasn't long ago that lead and asbestos were commonly used in construction of older homes. Older construction means there could be more to fix. While older homes may cost less to purchase up front, you could end up spending more on repairs and maintenance. Older homes are typically having less storage and less energy efficient. The bottom line, age is just a number. Deciding which home is right for you is a long process of give and take. Home buyers must have a clear understanding of what they want and need out of a home, and the age of the property is just one variable to consider.
Maybe what is one thing that you hear often, a misconception that people have about buying?
Well, back to the thing that I can't, okay? And then I have no idea about the entire process. How do I start? Where do I start? What do I do? What do I need to do? And that's when it falls in our laps that we need to find out where they're at, and have that conversation with them. In essence, we become social workers. We're listening, we're trying to, to understand their real need and try to help them at the level of their understanding get through this process. So whether it's from the very, very, very beginning, from the finance, that's still our job. Okay, whether it be just a real estate, okay, I've been pre-approved, I've been through these classes, but now I'm ready to find that home. Then we talk to them about getting that home. But it's not just finding a house. It's not just putting them on and picking out the building for them. We have to educate them on, the process of making a good decision.
Right.
Okay, because that's part of their fear. Am I going to make the right decision? What happens if I get this house and things fall apart? And we talk to them about inspections. We talk to them about surrounding them with professionals that's going to get them through those fears that they have, and then they start calming down because they're not having to have to figure it all out. And even the ones that had the classes, they're like, I remember a little bit of that. I said, well, you know what? It's not your role. I said, your role is you got a basic understanding of what you're going to be exposed to. It falls on us that we're supposed to explain these things as we go through it to take away those fears.
Welcome to the True Talk Show. I am your host, Sharyn Rigsbee. And today in the True Talk seat, we have Sandra Moody Gresham. She is the owner of DeHaan Enterprises Insurance and Financial Services. Sandra, welcome to the show.
Hi, Sharyn. Thank you for having me.
So glad you are here. Tell our audience a little bit about your background and how you got into this financial services space.
Sure. So I've really been in the financial services industry for more than 3 decades. I just stopped counting after that. The agency, DeHaan Enterprises, has been around almost 25 years now. And we're just near east of downtown here in Columbus. But we do all lines of insurance, and that's everything from employee benefits, which is the medical space, to property and casualty, which is the homeowners and auto insurance programs we're talking about, and business insurance, as well as fidelity and contract bonds for contractors. So we do also a lot of financial education, because I think many people spend a lot of money on insurance, but very few understand it. So I applaud you guys for having such a session to educate consumers about this important coverage.
Let's talk about that. Let's start right there, financial education. So when I think about if I own a home, there is homeowners insurance that's required. If you have a vehicle, we are required to have car insurance. Talk a little bit about that financial education piece. What should folks be thinking about when they have to pursue obtaining insurance in whatever space they're in?
Mm-hmm. So insurance is designed to protect assets and income. So, and most of us aren't in a financial position, like if our car's totally destroyed, go pull $20,000 out the bank to get a new one. So that's that insurance sharing and risk sharing. So it's really designed for just that, to protect your asset and protect your income. So new home purchases, if you have a mortgage, is required, right? And then one of the things we see is now many mortgage brokers are using like these automatic carriers. They go right to the insurance company, and the consumer may not even see the homeowner policy. It's just provided. You just got to be mindful that that policy is really protecting the mortgage company. Is it providing the coverages you need to protect what you want? You may have some special jewelry in there you want added. It may require, you may have an office and home. Does that policy pick up your business equipment, right? Or we see a lot of backup sewer and drains, where maybe some backup water comes into your basement. Is that coverage added? So we encourage new home buyers to purchase and homeowners working with an independent agent, so that they're tailoring that policy, not just to cover the mortgage, but to cover their assets, right, in general.
So let's go back to what you said, because it almost sounded as if you have a home, your lender or your mortgage company, like you said, requires that you have homeowners insurance. Do they require that you go with their provider? Or do you have a choice still?
You always have a choice.
Okay.
You always have a choice. Sometimes the perception is, well, they provided it, or they made it easy, right? But is it in your best interest? Right. And I think how you engage, ask questions about it, make sure that coverage protects your needs, not just the mortgage company needs.
So it sounds like then when you're just maybe going online to X provider and they're saying we provide homeowners insurance, this is where you're saying that education information kicks in. Because folks need to know what coverages they need. Mm-hmm. I think about what I've heard. Folks will not have flood insurance or won't have the things that will cover if they get water in their basement. How, as a homeowner, do you know what you need and if your policy really covers everything that you need?
And that's working with an independent insurance professional.
let's chat. We're going to talk today about what do you need to keep top of mind if you're looking to purchase a home this year. You ready? Let's do it. First thing I think you should be thinking about is, do you have the money set aside that you're going to need to cover those expenses that you incur when you're purchasing a home? For example, you're going to have down payment money that's needed, closing cost, inspection cost, appraisal cost. But then sometimes we forget about, if you're in a current lease and you decide to terminate your lease early, is there a payment penalty for breaking that lease early? All of those things are out-of-pocket expenses to you that you need to make sure you've got some money set aside. And don't forget whatever other moving expenses you may have if you're looking to buy new furniture once you're moved in, or have to pay the movers to get you there too. The next thing you should be thinking about is your financial position, starting with, do you know your credit score? If you've never pulled your report or know your score, you could start with a site like creditkarma.com. Pretty easy to use, pretty user-friendly. Pull your report down, take a look at it, and know your score. Let's be real, the lender is going to do it, so you might as well do it too. Isn't it better to be in a position of knowing when you walk into that bank that you're going to be able to get the loan? It's just a matter of what loan product and what rate you get. Also, make sure your bills and credit cards are paid on time. You certainly don't want any delinquencies, any past due balances. Doesn't look very positive to a lender. And then make sure you don't have any gaps in your employment history. Your lender's going to want about 2 years from you. So make sure you got a good solid 2 years if you can. Now, if you've changed jobs, that's okay. Just make sure you have those documentation in place to show them that you went from one great place to the next great place. Third thing is, get pre-approved. You do not want to start your home search without knowing how much home you can actually purchase. It's honestly a waste of your time and your agent's time if you hire one as well. So get pre-approved, know how much the lender is willing to lend to you. But know what your budget is. How much do you want your mortgage payment to be? Because that's what's going to drive how much house you ultimately purchase. So keep that in mind. If you're not sure where to start with the lender, think about where you already have an existing relationship. If you're already banking at a bank or a credit union, those are two great places to start, but you can always leverage your family or friends for referrals too. Now the fun part. The fourth thing you might want to consider is doing some research, and that's fun because you got to know where you want to live and what are you looking for in your house. So if you're not familiar with the area that you're in currently, I suggest maybe going to like your local city government website, the Chamber of Commerce website, any of your visitor bureau pages. They sometimes will have different descriptions on there of the various communities within the city where you're looking to live. A great place to start. Obviously, leverage social media. Ask your social friends if they've got some ideas of where they love living. They can be helpful too. But honestly, a great way is to drive through some neighborhoods, jump in your car, drive around, and see what interests you. But some things you may want to consider are the school systems, location to where you work or where your family and friends are, property taxes that you would have to pay, or the overall price of the homes or the average price of the homes. Maybe you want to consider diversity or being close to shopping and restaurants. All some things that you may want to consider, but it comes down to what's important to you and or your family. Also think about, what do you want in your new home? Do you have to have 3 bedrooms, 2 full bathrooms, 2-car garage, basement, fenced yard? You want to know those things. It matters. Your first showing is online. And so you want to make sure you know what your must-haves are, your non-negotiables, so you can vet out all of those listings and only go see the ones that actually would work for you and or your family.
You're watching TST with Ariana Carter. Today we're here at Linden Cafe to ask some questions relating to real estate. Let's go check it out.
Okay, the first question is, if you had a chance to purchase a new home or old home, which one would you choose?
Definitely an old one.
Why?
The character, the quality of the materials. They're just well-built, solid houses. I like the build.
What home would you prefer, a new build or an older home? new build. You don't know probably is a old home.
I would buy an existing home. I would not buy new.
Why?
Because I've heard the reputation of the construction quality of the new builds.
Every day,
Millions of people are
Connecting.
father,
cosplayer,
Mentor.
actor. It's time we take a step forward, come together,
and discover
how accepting our differences
can make us stronger.
So, do you have a home remodel project? Or quite frankly, is your home in need of a makeover? Well, here is your chance to win prizes to take care of just that. Do this. Send us a short video with your home makeover project for your chance to win prizes and to be featured on our show. For all the information and the contest rules, visit our website at truetalkinc.com. Join the True Talk Nation for more resources, more videos, more behind the scenes footage, and your chance to win prizes. Check us out at truetalkinc.com. And also make sure you like and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at True Talk Real Estate.